Hey, I'm Patrick Stegall, criminal defense attorney licensed in Tennessee and Mississippi. A common case that I get is the crime of assault, and I want to talk about assault, what that means, what might happen to you if you've been charged with assault. There are different types of assault under the law, so let's get into that. Assault, we all know pretty much what that means. Here in Tennessee, it's defined as doing something towards somebody that would put them in fear of being harmed, basically. And that's basically what an assault is. If the alleged victim has a reasonable belief that they are about to be subject of some physical harm, if they experience physical harm or reasonably believe they are in danger of being under some physical harm, that's an assault, okay? Obviously, hitting somebody, making it like you're going to hit somebody, those can be considered assaults under the law. And that is the misdemeanor variety, where there is that physical harm or belief that there's going to be some physical harm. Okay, here in Tennessee, the assault, or what we sometimes call simple assault, is a Class A misdemeanor. It's punishable up to 11 months and 29 days. All right. You have another type of assault, domestic assault or domestic violence, or we sometimes call it domestic assault bodily harm. Okay, that is an assault like I just described, but in that situation, there is a domestic relationship between the perpetrator and the victim. Okay, there is a family situation, either they're living together or are dating or are married or have been married or have a child together or are related by blood or marriage, okay? That makes it domestic assault. Domestic assault is serious because in addition to the penalties that I described for a simple misdemeanor assault, domestic assault carries its own set of penalties and consequences. If convicted of a domestic assault charge, you are going to lose some rights. Under federal law, you cannot own or purchase or possess a gun. All right, you lose your gun rights with a domestic assault. What they call in the federal system, they call a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence. If you have a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence on your name, you are prevented from possessing a gun. If you are found to be in possession of a gun, you can be prosecuted in federal court. All right, so serious charge there, domestic assault. The next step up, you get into the felony assaults, or what we call aggravated assault. This is where you've got that assault element to it, but now there's serious injury that occurs, or a deadly weapon is used, or strangulation or choking is used on the victim. Those are the requirements for an aggravated assault. It's got to be serious injury or deadly weapon or strangulation, okay? Using a gun or a knife, obviously, pointing a gun at somebody is considered an aggravated assault. Harming them to where it's serious injury if the person requires hospitalization, okay? Something like that, that's aggravated assault. Aggravated assault in Tennessee is a Class C felony. It's a Class C felony. It's punishable of a range from 3 to 15 years. Real serious offense. Okay. If you've been charged with an assault, are you going to go to jail? Well, you will be arrested initially. All right. You can expect to be in jail for at least a few hours. Okay. If you get arrested before being able to post bail, will you go to jail? Once your case goes through the court, and possibly, yeah. Like I said, aggravated assault carries 3 to 15 years, so that's real serious business. The misdemeanor variety, typically those can be worked out. Typically those cases don't go all the way to trial. They could. Very rare for that to happen. Again, it carries 11 months and 29 days. You may have to go on probation for that amount of time. If you choose not to fight the charge and try to strike some kind of deal, You could get probation, 11 months and 29 days, or it could be less, or it could even be like some anger management, okay? Maybe take some anger management classes. You stand a chance of keeping that off your record, okay, if you qualify. For an aggravated assault, obviously a more serious charge, there are greater consequences and penalties and more hoops to jump through. Yeah, you could do time on an aggravated assault. You could get probation. That's going to be up to the judge. And judges are a lot more stringent on giving probation to somebody who's been charged with a violent felony like aggravated assault. Okay, you have to show yourself to the judge that you are worthy of probation. You'd have to have a hearing in front of the judge if you're facing, say, 3 years and want to get a suspended sentence. You could keep an aggravated assault off your record if you qualify for diversion. And again, that's more hoops to jump through. If you qualify, then you can have the sentence suspended, and at the end of that probation, have the charge dismissed and removed from your record. That's something only available for first-time offenders. All right. So those are the elements of assault, the different levels of assaults, the different penalties. Okay, it gets more serious as you go along. Down in Mississippi, where I practice, you have your misdemeanor assaults and your aggravated assaults, and generally it's roughly the same elements. The punishment can vary a little bit from what I described earlier, but you got your misdemeanors where you might be looking at 6 months. Probably could get that suspended and get the chance to keep it off your record. An aggravated assault, again, is going to be more serious and more work to put in to keep that off of your record and keep you out of jail. So, assault is a common crime. There are different levels of it. If you're charged, what you might be facing just depends on what happened. Were there injuries? Was there a deadly weapon involved? What's the relationship between the accused and the victim? And each one of those, is going to require some individual analysis. But you stand a chance, to keep it off your record, to keep from going to jail. Of course, there are defenses also. There are defenses. I'm not telling you got to plead guilty and roll over. If it could be a case of self-defense. If you're accused of hurting somebody, you could have been in fear of your life. You could have been defending yourself from them attacking you. So maybe they were the primary aggressor. So, if you're not going to plead guilty to something you didn't do and fight the charge, then defenses like that have to be looked into. Is the victim in this case, what are they like? Are they a person who's prone to violence? Have they done this sort of thing before? Were they under the influence of any, alcohol or controlled substances? A lot of things need to be looked at. So if you've been charged with an assault, it's a serious crime. Get yourself a lawyer first. Talk to me and let's look into it. And let's see what defenses do we have to this, and how far do we have to go with that. And if we're not going to go to trial, and we want to settle this case, what's best for you that doesn't jeopardize your future, keeps you out of jail, and keeps this off your record. So let's look at it that way. Again, I'm Patrick Stegall, and thanks for watching.